Greetings. This is turning out to be a daily thing, making videos. Again, no plan to make one today, but first part I want to share an experience. Second part I want to talk about something which I think might actually make a lot of sense, because it does affect all of you, certainly all of you that listen to this channel, I should think. But there's an amusing duality to what I'm going to say in that, because it's all about perspective. But before we do any of that, let's talk about let's just go back over something. The atom. If 99.9% of that atom is a wave, and that minuscule 0.0001% is the particle which we know as solid physical reality. And bearing in mind as well what we're told about human eyesight only sees the tiniest, about the same percentage of what is termed as visible light between the infrared and the ultraviolet. So the question is, what are we missing out on? So the answer is, well, anything and everything is possible. There is nothing that is no thing. The space between everything physical is still a thing. Even if our eyes can't see it, you know there's air there, you know there's oxygen there, but you can't see it with these eyes of the deceiver. But it exists, like so many other things. So where was I? I've lost my train of... Yes, the meditation. What a wonder. Last night I went to sleep with this beaming smile and this absolute feeling of unconditional love. It's like I'm holding on to that, and I still had it when I woke up today, and yeah, it's not settled down. I don't want it to settle down. It's wonderful. It's another part of, by doing this repeated meditations, this you're imprinting, you're impressing, you are reinventing yourself. I'm going to put a link in the description to this amazing interview that I'm so grateful that was shared with me, Dr. Joe Dispenza. That makes so much sense. Because, as Neville Goddard said, the proof is in the performance. Well, there are thousands and thousands of testimonials to show the quantum potential of all this, and why everything in this reality is the way it is, and the way it all seems to be, which it is, working in opposition to us through every second, through every aspect of your life, every minute of every day of your existence in this reality is being assaulted, whether you know it or not. So the thing to bear in mind with anything that I say is the only thing I can be an authority on is personal experience. So if somebody says to me they've seen Pleiadians or Arcturians or whatever, it doesn't matter whether I believe them or not. If you know and you feel something inside of yourself, that is the truth. Always trust in your gut feeling. That cannot be emphasized enough, because when you know what the gut feeling is, which is your energy chakra called the solar plexus, the place of the sun, that's your Christ consciousness. That is the power and the wisdom that is guiding you. I mean, it's taken me over 50 years to prove this, to be able to speak about this, from basically everything that is presented to you on that exterior screen. Now I'm talking about primary school here. There was always something deep inside here, the gut feeling that told me something is not quite right about any of this. no matter what I'm presented with, no matter how much sense it makes. Some of it is like, why are we even learning this? And obviously not at that age, but later on, it occurred to me, it's like, this is just repetition. It's like, what? This is just bullshit, basically. And I've drifted, and I've just drifted and drifted through life since, really, because I just can't take part in it when it's like that. It's like, what is the point of this? So I'm given this idea of like up to about the age of 50, I'm supposed to be spending, getting bigger and bigger houses, bigger and bigger cars, to then, once the children are grown up, they leave home, and then you downsize and you get rid of everything and give it away or sell it and end up in a box or burned. No, it's like, there's more to life than that. That can't be it. It seems pretty pointless if that is. So that's what started, just from that inner knowing, that inner feeling, and I'm sure you all feel it. Anyway, back to the law of mirrors. It was revealed to me about, maybe an hour ago, half an hour ago. So this is something that Christine on Dream Universe, I know, has spoken about, and I jokingly mentioned it on a previous video recently about that road sweeper moment. That thing where I'm about to make a video and a police siren goes off, or a motorbike starts up, or there's some external noise that's going to try and derail my train of thought. And it's like, again, this is happening again. It's like, well, it is this AI, it's frequencies. And today I saw it. I'm explaining something and I can see the change in the frequency. And it's like, oh, this is why this is the question I think a lot of you want the answer to. Why are you the black sheep in the family? Law of mirrors. What is being presented and shown to you? The chance to learn to see that frequency, to expand your awareness. Shall we say your sight? Yeah, so just to go back, because I think I lost my train of thought. So if somebody says to me about they've seen reptilians or whatever, or what did I say before, Pleiadians, can I believe that, accept that, any more than I can accept someone if I say to them, I have seen these demonic entities, they look like the Dementors from the Harry Potter films, black, sort of roughly humanoid shapes. And I actually feel quite sorry for them. I know that might seem a strange thing to say, but just look at the Dracula films. Do you really think, we call the character the Prince of Darkness, like in the Dracula films, do you think that's going to say, oh, shame you failed in your mission, better luck next time? Do you really think this ultimate sort of perception of evil is going to be forgiving? So you can't help but feel sorry for them. What fate are they going to get for failing in their mission? Because they're nasty little critters. But you just, social distancing is nothing new. Just go out and give them a great big hug of unconditional love. They soon scarper. If they don't scarper, they sort of get burnt here, the equivalent of whatever they've got for a heart. This is what I saw in the mind's eye. That's the closest I can give you to proof. I can only tell you of my personal experience. That's the only thing I can be an authority on. An authority. It's AU, it's gold. It's my essence. Thor as well. Author, authority. See how these words are put together there? Yeah, it can say making things out of the words, but no, it's just everything is revealed. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to the experience of you hear a song, say written in the 1970s. Just take, for example, Hotel California, which I've featured before. That song obviously wasn't written, that idea wasn't to write that song for you someone you don't even know to specifically find 50 whatever years later. But it comes back to where do ideas come from? Well, idea. The I, the deity of EA, accident and emergency, Ea, it's mentioned by Zecharia Sitchin as the old name for Enki. I'm not going with the Zecharia Sitchin books, I'm just saying that it's mentioned in there, and the EAAE, it's shown, Black Sheep Researcher channel, funny we're talking about being black sheep of the family, and he's shown about the AEIOU device, the vowel L's, the vowels to L, but remember these are all labels and just different expressions. It's no different from saying Christ consciousness and birth from above and Kundalini rising. It just depends whether you're coming from a spiritual, a scripture background or scientific background. There's all different ways of expressing exactly the same thing. Remember, everything in this reality is based on the idea of repeat prescriptions, prescribed. We've got scriptures. It's then follows the same format as everything else. The idea in the mind of the architect, or the idea that is then given to the architect, that then creates a blueprint, which is given to the construction company that creates the physical form. See, it started with an idea and it became a solid reality. We don't think that's anything different than you can do, because you all have this ability. You all have the power of imagination. You all have the power of thought. If you take everything out of a jar and leave a vacuum, there are still photons in there. You put human DNA. This has been proven. If you put extract of human DNA, those photons will create a double helix and react differently. Photons react and behave depending on whether they are observed or not observed, and obviously we've got the frequencies and the intent and everything behind it. That is how this reality is. Call it a matrix, call it whatever you want. An atomic matrix, it's all different ways of expressing exactly the same thing. There is nothing real about this reality at all. It is a real to real. But just like Hollywood, whatever thing is called a false flag, don't forget, just like Hollywood films, there is added realism. There are real deaths. Don't be fooled by that. There are always sick, sacrificial dates. It's all playing out this script. But remember, they are all experiences. There is no actual real bad experience with an ultimate judgment over it. It's just an experience, and if you don't get it right, you've got unlimited rides in this shit show, and you just keep going round again. It is pretty much, as I've suggested, it's like a travelling fun fair. And it's like, final night, just give them all the sideshows, give them all the whole lot. I mean, you want to see the big features, the world wars, you'll get the blockbusters, you'll see the building blocks being destroyed by carpet bombing or whatever they want to call it. It's all distraction. But remember, this reality is more akin to the snake that eats its own tail. It's self-harming, but it's perpetual self-harming. This reality doesn't destroy anything. Energy just morphs from one form to another. You could find yourself as fertilizer or manure. But you're still in a form of an existence. But when I say you, I'm obviously talking about these physical vessels that are tied to this figure of eight infinite reality of... But it has like a control system, which is like a naughty child that is having a tantrum and smashing up its own toys. It's self-destructive, but deep down it knows it still wants to be fed at the end of the day. It's not stupid. But it is just the contrasting shadow aspect. Just like we have shadows. It's just so many can't face their shadows. Whether they are spineless in the sense of the spiritually spineless, perhaps, because remember, in the spiritual there is always a physical play out to all of these things. So yeah, it's just amazing what is coming through, what is being revealed. I hope that this is making sense. I'll recap again anyway. So you feel like the black sheep of the family? Well, the reason for that is it's because it's a lesson for you, a life lesson, to open up your awareness. Now, of course, we've all got different strengths, we've all got different weaknesses. Not all of you can see auras, not all of us can see energy or whatever. Just as in this physical reality, we've all got different strengths and weaknesses and different skills. We're all personified aspects of the Creator with a checklist of, oh, I'll have a strength in that, I'll have a weakness in that. Even in, as Dr. Joe Dispenza has proven, which backs up what Zecharia Sitchin said about chromosome 2 is being very cleverly fused together from two separate chromosomes. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it, it's like two major companies merging. They've both got their own financial department, they've both got their own wages department or whatever. And they've got maybe different ways of doing things. So when these two companies merge, then some bits are going to go. So you lose some skills, you gain others. And that's all we have to do. Imaginal acts create objects. Reality creates solid reality. We objectify. So we refuse what is shown on the external screen. That is the the reason, because we are igniting and lighting up, allowing that sun to rise within inside us. It's so simple, and yet it can seem so difficult, but keep doing that meditation. Meditation is not some sort of hippie new age thing. It is no different from what you did at school, or even before you went to school. It's no different from learning to walk. You didn't just, well, most of you didn't just like get up off the floor and start walking. You would have had to practice and practice and practice until it became second nature. That's what meditation is. It's no different. Just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Because you create chemical changes in your body. You want to be in a place of unconditional love. You want to be feeling expansive. You want to be the best version of yourself, be greater than you are. Well, that is how you do it. It all goes on with inside. You should be in control of that. So take that time out at the start of the day and at the end of the day. Do the meditation twice a day, because it's going to benefit you. It costs you nothing except that 5-10 minutes, 20 minutes a day. You can come up with any excuse to say why you can't, but it comes down to, do you really want to? This is where the free will comes in. You can want to get out of this reality as the way it is, and you can have a better existence, but how deep does that want go? Is it at your core, the anchor of us, the core us? It's deep down inside, it's in the heart. It's, again, I'm just saying the same thing in different words. Same as everything that's shown to you on every screen, in one way or another, whether it be from a dark aspect or a light aspect. See, that's the irony of this. By saying that, seeing the AI control the rest of the family that we would refer to as not being awake or aware, would say, oh no, that's crazy, because they wouldn't like to think of the idea that they are being used as puppets, but their own egos are what's stopping that. So don't expect them to welcome that idea at all. That will just confirm to them that you are crazy. But again, this is talked about in the splitting of the earth, the moving further apart, because that is what is happening. It is forming a new age. And don't forget, it's this reality and everything that clings onto this reality, the famous quote, give unto Caesar what is his. It's not being cruel, because what else can you do? You can only do so much. You are here to do for yourself first and foremost, because if you don't get that right, how can you help anybody else? They have the free will to listen or not to listen, and we just respect their choices. But it's going to seem hard. It is going to seem like a real test. It is going to seem like the winter of discontent, but it is not all doom and gloom. Far from it. That's just the external illusions being shown to you. Go within. Deny that reality. Don't feel any of the fear from it. Because remember, petrified means scared to death, and it also means turned to rock. Imagine if it's both. and you're still conscious in like a stone sleep paralysis. It's not a very nice prospect to even want to even think about, or even the idea. So unpluck that seed. Now I've given you that thought, because I don't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemy, which actually is myself, because that's all we are. This system makes us our own worst enemy. When we allow the body to run the show instead of the mind, the body will want to stay comfortable. It will want to stay in what it's familiar with. We've got to come out of that comfort zone and face our shadow side, so we get through this. But hey, it's good. It's actually wonderful. It's amazing. Like the way the songs, the lyrics, it's like, I get what that means now. Those aha moments, as I call them. You know what it's like, synchronized thoughts, that wonderful feeling. Just hang on, just grab hold of that feeling of unconditional love and absorb it, really feel it, and then project it out again. And hey, hopefully I've brightened your day, given you a bit of sunshine, but really you should find your own internal sun. But I'm just here to help. So ta-ta for now.